TV3GH. TV3, first in news, best in entertainment. Log on to www.3news.com for more news and updates of our major stories. Join us on Facebook 3newsgh for live streaming and comments on our page. Like and follow us on Twitter at 3newsgh and at 3sportsgh. Like our pictures on Instagram, TV3 Network. If you missed our live shows, watch a playback on YouTube, TV3GH. TV3, first in news, best in entertainment. Log on to www.3news.com for more news and updates of our major stories. Join us on Facebook 3newsgh for live streaming and comments on our page. Like and follow us on Twitter at 3newsgh and at 3sportsgh. Like our pictures on Instagram, TV3 Network. If you missed our live shows, watch a playback on YouTube, TV3GH. TV3, first in news, best in entertainment. Log on to www.3news.com for more news and updates of our major stories. Join us on Facebook 3newsgh for live streaming and comments on our page. Like and follow us on Twitter at 3newsgh and at 3sportsgh. Like our pictures on Instagram, TV3 Network. If you missed our live shows, watch a playback on YouTube, TV3GH. TV3, first in news, best in entertainment. Log on to www.3news.com for more news and updates of our major stories. Join us on Facebook 3newsgh for live streaming and comments on our page. Like and follow us on Twitter at 3newsgh and at 3sportsgh. Like our pictures on Instagram, TV3 Network. If you missed our live shows, watch a playback on YouTube, TV3GH. TV3, first in news, best in entertainment. Log on to www.3news.com for more news and updates of our major stories. Join us on Facebook 3newsgh for live.
Your capacities as regional chairman, or it is actually a reflection of the executive body of the various regions you represent?
Well, good evening. The regional chairman had a meeting today, being the leaders of the party in the various regions, after careful consideration of activities that have been going on within the region. Thought it wise that first and foremost there's a thank you talk that has to take place, which was never taken, and most of the people, most of our supporters have been complaining about that after the president serving the party for so many years after losing the election. One thing that you need to do is to go and thank the people for all the effort that they put into campaign for you. So we deem that something that has to be done as part of the reorganization of the party, that he needs to go down there, meet the regional executives and the constituency executives, and thank them for the yeoman job that they did during the period of his administration, and also during the election period. Yes.
No,
and then
no, I get the point. I get the point. I get what I'm asking you is the statement you issued said that
in capacity as the regional chairman. Yes. We are head of the we are in charge of the regions, and that is the thinking of the regional chairman, because that is what our members have been talking to us about.
And so this position is a representation of the executive.
I have just told you
the executive body of all the regions as we speak. Is that what you're saying?
10 regional chairmen met and took that decision.
No, I'm asking.
Are you challenging our authority?
Obviously not. I'm questioning the reasoning behind this, and I'm saying to you, and I'm asking that is your position
we are saying
as
that
executives
as chairman,
a reflection of the entire executive body of the various regions?
I'm saying that we, in our capacity as the regional chairman, right, which we've got the mandate to speak on behalf of the region, our regional executives, that is what we have found out from our members, and that is what we have gone to tell the former president to do.
I see. Now, the former president himself over the weekend said that, I mean, coming out to declare his intention now is going to derail efforts in trying to solve the problems which got you to lose that election. And you're coming out now that it is urgent for him to declare his intention?
We have not asked him to declare. We have asked him to consider running. You see, people, the English language is there. He says consider. Nobody has asked him to go and run. When I asked you to consider to do something, I've asked you to consider, go and think about it. We have not asked him to go and contest. He said consider to run. Please. That's the English language. I mean, these days, what kind of English are we teaching our children?
Mr. Adekunle, hold on. You're saying that he should urgently consider.
Consider, yes.
No, what is the urgency about it, really?
Yes, because he has to consider whether he's going to run or not. And we are saying he should urgently consider whether he's going to contest or not, because the party needs to make a move. So he has to consider. We are asking him. We are not asking him. We are not telling him go and contest. He said consider to run again.
Does that mean that the executives, I mean, a chairman, will not support the other 5 persons we know who have declared openly their intention to contest the party's flag bearership for the 2020 general elections?
No. People have got the right to contest. And we are also asking to consider to contest.
So how about the other 5?
We have not put our weight behind anybody. Neither have we put our weight behind him. We are saying he should consider to contest.
Well, there are those who say that you're finding some safe haven under the clouds of John Mahama, because as per some of the issues that came out during the Kwesi Botwe Committee's national tour, some people were blaming you, the national executives, for failing to do your job, which has led the party into opposition. So you're doing this to just keep your jobs.
We are not looking for any cover. We are saying you should consider to run, period.
So what?
That's it. That's it. He says you should consider to run. That's all.
So if it happens that you have to vacate your positions?
When I vacate my position as regional chairman, it's not a personal property, right? So there's the need of vacation is not because I don't want to vacate because I'm looking for cover. No. As at now, we are the regional chairman. And
but don't you think that
we should consider to run? That's all.
Well, the matter also puts the point that it appears that you're forging for unity and then you come out to state such a position. Is this not going to derail your unity efforts?
I don't think so. We are asking anybody who wants to contest has got the chance, and nobody is putting any impediments in anybody's way. But we, the regional chairman, feel that he should consider to run as a candidate. That is all.
Right. I thank you for your time this evening. I'm grateful. Joseph Adekoka is the Greater Accra Regional Chairman of the NDC.
Let's turn to health now. As a lot more young girls are engaged in unsafe abortion, in 2016 alone, 9,612 cases of unsafe abortion were recorded. Although efforts are ongoing to curb the situation, experts want education on family planning to be intensified.
Unsafe abortion is still a major cause of death, especially among young women. According to the latest WHO estimates, 25 million of all abortions that occurred every year worldwide between 2010 to 2014 were unsafe. The majority, that's 97% of unsafe abortions, occurred in developing countries like Ghana. It is estimated one woman dies from unsafe illegal abortion every 7 minutes. A senior specialist obstetrician of the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, Dr. Fred Pobi, noted the complication poses danger for the health of such girls.
If the patient is unfortunate, we may have to, depending on how bad it is, we may have to take out the uterus. So then the patient ends up with the uterus being taken out. And if it's a very young patient who has who has not delivered before, then you can just imagine.
Dr. Pobi suggests a lot more education on family planning efforts can help minimize the practice.
More public health education is done. I think it will go a long way because a lot of them don't know. The issue of family planning is also something that has to be, people have to be educated on family planning.
Abigail Ogumro York is a service provider at PPHE. Her facility has over the years given planning services and counseling and is worried about the increasing speed.
We have young women coming in, and it is because, you know, these abortion tablets, they are on the market. They sell them in the marketplace, in the chemical shops and all that. So they go there, they take the pill, and then maybe they start bleeding, and then they come. But when they come, we take them through counseling, and then we help them do the safe abortion for them.
Although the PPHE is at the forefront of education, she called for collaborative efforts to curb the rising numbers of young girls dying from unsafe abortion.
So we are still giving the information that if we are able to do it, if we can help ourselves, maybe the parents are being part of it, pastors, imams, opinion leaders, we all come together. I think it might be faster in reducing all this.
IPAS Ghana Youth Advisory Board, also a reproductive health services advocacy organization, says government must increase access to safe abortion care and comprehensive contraceptive services.
Well, there's a particular sculpted product the user does not see and the maker does not want, but oftentimes subjected to stigma. Well, Stanley Nibleo spent a day with a casket maker, Theophilus Ni Anumsoa, who laments the constant stigma is pushing people away from the profession.
In Ghana, there are several professions. Key amongst them is the carpentry work, which casket making is a part. Casket makers face stigma because of the nature of their work. Irrespective of the weirdness of what they do, it still serves as a source of livelihood for most of them. Casket making is an integral part of the journey of life. Statistics of people engaged in casket making is currently not available, but it is believed that many people globally take on this job opportunity daily. For many carpenters, their livelihood is dependent on this profession. Theophilus Ni Anumsoa, a father of 5, operates the Ni Fantastic Sculpture Shop at 30.5 in the Greater Accra region. He has been making caskets for the past 31 years and now has 4 apprentices. His handicrafts include both traditional and Vogue caskets. He receives orders from the nooks and crannies of the country without relenting on serving his clients. The Vogue caskets are carefully designed to depict one's profession, and these include camera, football boots, dragon, fish, Bible, wild creatures, among other skillfully designed sculptured works. Casket making does not come easily. In such an open market, competition among casket makers is very intense. Unlike carpenters who are into furniture making, casket makers affirm they resort to the acquisition of black magic for protection.
It is of a truth that nobody does this work without consulting any sort of medium. And so some of my colleagues end up marrying fetish priestesses and all that because the work itself demands that.
He was pushed into the profession by his late father, but he has no regrets taking on the job. In most African countries, it is perceived that the casket that one is buried with determines his wealth and social class.
One with a weird character, they choose lion. One who is associated with fishing goes with something that relates to seagoing. In other words, if you are a farmer, you go with something related to farming.
Casket making, however, is not an option for many people who wants to take on a technical profession due to the alleged spiritual attack associated with it. Bonyo Adeka, as it is called by the Gans, is an essential item needed, especially when performing traditional African funeral rites. But those who make these products are often stigmatized in society. Every profession deserves equal respect. Stanley Niblewu, TV3 News, 30.5.
Well, interesting one. It's about time we all started thinking about the design of our caskets upon our death. Well, on to other stories now. Residents of Nkonia have renewed calls for the lifting of the curfew imposed on Nkonia and Alavanyo. They contend imposition of a night curfew is a misjudgment since the criminal killings are perpetrated in broad daylight. Meanwhile, the military have arrested 7 young men from the Nkonia community for alleged violation of curfew hours on Monday, November 6.
The Ministry of the Interior has, upon the advice of the Volta Regional Security Council, reviewed the curfew hours for Alavanyo and Nkonia townships effective Sunday, October 22, 2017. The area, which previously observed curfew hours from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m., are now staying indoors from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. The tightening of the curfew hours, the chiefs and people contended, is regrettable.
There has not been any gunshots in our area. So reviewing the curfew from 8 p.m. to 6 p.m. down to 6 a.m., that is very unbearable. And I don't know how this has come about. Even places in Ghana here where guns are being shot right now, they have not been given that strict curfew.
A teacher at the Nkonia Senior High School, Theophilus Aganu, wondered the rationale for a dusk to dawn curfew in an area where crimes were being committed in the day.
This curfew has rather capable us than help us. It is not the curfew that will solve the Alavanyo Nkonia situation. The curfew has been around, people have been killed in the bush, in the forest, but the people indirectly are punished. I think the government should take a second look at this curfew.
Also of concern is an alleged abuse by the security details. Residents accuse the military personnel of excesses and taking advantage of the situation.
So to confirm it, some boys were arrested and were taken down to KJB before they were left to go home. So we don't know if it is out of hatred for something we do not yet know.
Maybe it could be a personal hatred somewhere. A soldier might have had maybe a misunderstanding with a young man in the village. It could be through maybe finding girls or otherwise.
Addressing the Volta Regional Peace Council, an opinion leader from Nkonia Tai, Joseph Adai Bosman, threatened positive defiance if steps are not taken to check the human rights abuse.
With so many boys they are arrested, they should refrain. If they refuse, we shall not be happy.
The Alavanyo and Nkonia traditional areas have been in curfew since April this year following the ambushing of some palm wine tappers from Nkonia Ahinkro. 6 lives were lost after that incident, 3 each from the 2 traditional areas.
Former Lands Minister Enosa Fuseni says he is yet to be contacted by National Security 5 months after admitting he intentionally backed his office to monitor conversations. In July this year, the Lands Minister John Peter Amewu uncovered a recording device planted to monitor happenings in his office. Enosa Fuseni later owned up as being behind that device. He spoke exclusively to Komla Kuche.
Have you been invited by?
No, I've not been invited yet. I've not been invited yet.
Have you made a contact?
I don't need to make any contact with anybody. I don't need to. I'm here. I'm available. And if they need me, they just invite me. I'm prepared. I can tell you on this matter, I've always said there was no aforethought bad intention. The thing never even worked. It never even recorded a pin. It was never activated. I regret though, seriously, having left it in the office because to all intents and purposes, it was useless. this hula balloon. Why did I own up? I own up because I thought that people would suffer vicariously for my act, and I should own up and face the consequences myself. And that's why I did it out of my belief that I need to take responsibility for my own
Nobody
act.
has contacted you since?
Nobody contacted me. I just read it and I said, no, I should talk about this.
Okay, let me go to the telephone and stay a bit further with this. Emmanuel Kuting is a security analyst and actually the executive director of the Africa Center for Security and Counterterrorism. So Kuting, good evening to you. Thank you very much for your time. Now, how do you read this situation? I mean, 5 months after he owned up and said, look, I'm the one who puts it there, and security agencies were investigating this, and he hasn't been invited as a prime suspect in this.
Well, Alfred, thank you for having me, and good evening to your very cherished viewers. In fact, I think our security agencies are letting us down because if you recall, 5 months ago when this issue came, it was the talk of the town on all the airways for over 2 weeks. And I remember the National Security Minister gave Ghanaians the assurances that they will go to the bottom of this matter. The issue didn't even have to do with the discovery, but the most important and begging issue had to do with the nature of the security device, who brought the security device, and for what purpose. And you realize that the former Lands and Natural Resource Minister came up to own to the fact that indeed he was aware of such a device. So the begging questions every well-meaning Ghanaian should be asking is, why didn't our security agencies pursue the matter further? So when things like this happen, it further deepens the misconceptions that in our part of the world, if you are a very prominent person or you are well-to-do, there are laws for you and another law for we, the ordinary ones. And I feel that this is not right at all.
Well, he has actually indicated that it was useless. It did not record anything. I mean, from your analysis as a security person, could it just be the case that after analyzing the device and the fact that they didn't really record anything, they let it go without necessarily inviting him?
I think that there are two things. Alfred, no one will come and put a useless device in his office. In the first place, why would you come and put a useless device in your office? For what purpose? I think that our security agencies simply lack the requisite wherewithal or the logistics or the things to be able to carry out the investigation. And they left it at that. And I think it's not proper for our security agencies as a body. If you remember, BBC even carried this news item, and I'm sure the international community will be looking out to our security agencies what they will come up with their investigation. Okay. So, Alfred, if simple investigations like this, our security agencies cannot carry that out, and with the times we are living in now, with terrorism at our doors every now and then, how are we better placed to have confidence and trust in our
right. So, Mr. Good, so we should get to know the outcome of the investigations. That's what you're saying.
Definitely.
Okay.
It's so important to Ghanaians.
Great.
And I think Ghanaians deserve that.
I'm grateful for your time this evening, Emmanuel Kuting, Executive Director, of the Africa Center for Security and Counterterrorism.
On to other stories this evening. Organized labor is to drag the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SSNIT, to the Supreme Court from next week for interpretation on why its formula has shortchanged Ghanaian workers. According to Labour, its investigations reveal that some pensioners lost more than 20 to 28,000 cedis of their benefits after retirement due to wrongful calculations by SSNIT.
According to Labour, SSNIT uses annuity factor to calculate contributions which most pensioners don't understand. The aggrieved persons sought the assistance of Labour to recalculate for them, while others have ignored the calculations. Already, some have lost more than 28,000 cedis on their benefits, thus reducing their pension contributions. Labour has petitioned Senate to explain but is yet to respond. It has agreed to consider a legal action.
We are just going to court for interpretation. It is not that we are taking Senate to court or anything. We want the law to be interpreted properly so that we understand it. If we have to go to court, what is wrong? We will go to court to make sure that we understand what Senate is doing. If what Senate is doing in some cases is not right, they will stop because the court will have now interpreted it better for all of us.
Meanwhile, Organized Labour and the NPRA have convened a meeting to discuss the amount in a temporary pension fund account TPFA. As of September 30, 2017, the TPFA had accrued 8.4 billion cedis for both private and public sector contributions, representing 4.2%. Out of the amount, private sector contributions amounted to more than 500 million cedis, while more than 200 million cedis had been transferred. By November 2, 2017, the TPFA had again accrued 2.9 billion cedis of public sector contributions, but yet to be transferred. Deputy Minister of Employment and Labour Relations, Bright Rokubrobi, said the transfers would be done by the end of this month.
Sitting down and talking to Labour, we have even realized that it's only 12 months in arrears. All these have been calculated and the money will be transferred. At the end of this month? Sure. Take it that we are working so hard to get it transferred by end of month.
Chief Executive for NPRA Hereford Atakrofi assured of a smooth transfer to the registered schemes.
The process is far advanced for the transfer to be done. So I will entreat Organized Labour to repose their confidence in us and to work with us collectively so that we can all effect the transfer of the money to the various schemes.
Tonight, the northern sector will remain dry and slightly hazy. Nighttime temperatures over the northern sector will be relatively low. Let's find out how the weather will be throughout the night into tomorrow morning.
The weather report is brought to you by
Still live here on News 360. We've got the latest from the world of business shortly. Stay with us.
Hello. Hello. The doctor would see you now.
20 by 20. TV3 at 20. 20 years in the lives of 20 prominent Ghanaians. Looking 20 years before and 20 years beyond.
by 20, showing this Saturday at 1 p.m. on TV3.
20 by 20. TV3 at 20. 20 years in the lives of 20 prominent Ghanaians. Looking 20 years before and 20 years beyond.
By 20, showing this Saturday at 1 p.m. on TV3.
20 by 20. TV3 at 20. 20 years in the lives of 20 prominent Ghanaians. Looking 20 years before and 20 years beyond.
20 by 20, showing this Saturday at 1 p.m. on TV3.
20 by 20. TV3 at 20. 20 years in the lives of 20 prominent Ghanaians. Looking 20 years before and 20 years beyond.
by 20, showing this Saturday at 1 p.m. on TV3.
20 by 20. TV3 at 20. 20 years in the lives of 20 prominent Ghanaians. Looking 20 years before and 20 years beyond.
20 by 20, showing this Saturday at 1 p.m. on TV3.
20 by 20. TV3 at 20. 20 years in the lives of 20 prominent Ghanaians. Looking 20 years before and 20 years beyond.
20 by 20, showing this Saturday at 1 p.m. on TV3.
20 by 20. TV3 at 20. 20 years in the lives of 20 prominent Ghanaians. Looking 20 years before and 20 years beyond.
The cylinder recirculation model of liquefied petroleum gas LPG distribution will put on consumers. Now, this comes in the wake of a pending marginal
20 by 20, showing this Saturday at 1 p.m. on TV3.
20 by 20. TV3 at 20. 20 years in
the presidency gave the green light for the module to be implemented following an explosion at an LPG station at Atomic Junction, which killed 7 people and injured 132 in October this year. This COPEC sees as welcome news, but comes with an extra cost to the consumer.
The plants to be erected or set up across the country, they will come at a certain cost. The consumer may have to pay for it at some point. And so it is not surprising that once we are going full haul with the recirculation program, Ghanaians should expect LPG prices to go up a little higher. There will be some new margins, definitely, to cater for the plants that are now going to have to bottle the gas.
However, the LPG Marketers Association and the Association of Gas Tanker Drivers have kicked against the policy. The new model, proposed by the National Petroleum Authority (NPA), means that LPG bottling plants will be sited away from highly populated areas and commercial centers. These plants will procure, brand, maintain and fill empty cylinders to be distributed to consumers and households through retail outlets and stations deemed to be low risk after a government assessment.
We have equally cautioned that the recirculation should factor smaller gas bottles or cylinders. It should be made available at all the outlets so that people who don't have too much to be able to pay 89 cedis, 84 cedis and can pay 20 cedis, there should be something also at the outlets for them.
Meanwhile, the executive director of COPEC, Duncan Amwa, looks forward to some tax cuts and new policies in the petroleum sector in the 2018 budget statement.
We would be expecting and watching keenly in the 2018 budget government's attempts at scaling down some of the taxes further, or government introducing policies that would ensure that no matter how bad the international market gets, you and I would not be asked to go and pay too much at the pumps.
Right, now let's look at the much talked about energy bond, where the minority in Parliament is to haul the Finance Minister to Parliament to explain why the state is paying 177 million cedis for its 4 billion cedis energy bond. Spokesperson on Finance, Kesa Latoforsen, says it is outrageous why administrative expenses cost 80 million cedis, and this is a follow-up to the minority's press conference on Wednesday.
Kesa Latoforsen says government failed to raise the fiscal cash of 2 billion cedis under the energy bond.
The amount of money that was actually realized is under 700 million. After an extensive roadshow, the state, after extensive roadshow, foreigners only participated by less than 100 million. And the local investors participated by about 600 million.
He was particularly surprised how the state could be paying 80 million cedis as administrative expenses under the bond.
The state is paying that ranges 87.5 million Ghana cedis. The state is paying legal fees of 700,000 Ghana cedis. The state is paying the accountant of 350,000 Ghana cedis. Overall, the state is paying 177 million Ghana cedis. I think this amount is way too much. This is not the first time the state is raising a bond. The last bond that we raised under the Euro bond of 1 billion, which translates to about 4.4 billion, the total cost was under 0.2%. Today we are seeing a bond that we are raising for about 4 billion, and the cost is 1.77%.
The minority spokesperson on finance said the finance minister would have to explain what constituted the administrative expenses for a bond which only realized 4 billion cedis.
Printing alone, printing of the roadshow material was 400,000 Ghana cedis. This is not, I'm not manufacturing document. This is everywhere. You can go and Google the roadshow material and look at page 29. It is there. Page 29 of the roadshow material is there. The investors are asking questions. How come that the state is spending 177 million for a bond that realized only 4.4 billion?
All right, so we'll wait to see what happens in Parliament when the Finance Minister goes in there to answer questions. But away from that, consumer price inflation for October was 11.6%, down by 0.6 percentage points from the 12.2% recorded in the month of September. Acting government statistician Banwadie attributed the 0.6% decline in the inflation rate to a base drift effect in food and non-food inflation.
Consumer price index measures change over time in the general price level of goods and services that households acquire for consumption. The year-on-year food inflation rate for October this year was 8.2% compared to 8.1% recorded in September. Acting government statistician Banwadie noted the main price drivers included meat and meat products, oil and fat.
And the price drivers for the food inflation rate was fish and seafood, which stood at 16.1%.
The year-on-year inflation rate for non-food items was 13.2%, which is more than 1.5 times that of the food inflation, which was 8.2%.
The main price drivers for the non-inflation rate were transport, which stood at 18.5%, clothing and footwear 17.1%, recreation and culture 16.8%, miscellaneous goods and services 14.5%, and furnishing, household equipment and routine maintenance 14.4%.
Transport recorded the highest inflation rate of 18.5% due to a base drift effect, followed by clothing and footwear with 17.1%.
It gives an indication of an easing of inflation. Whether this is the ideal situation or not depends on policies that are being pursued, and policymakers will judge these figures in terms of their desired objectives of the policies. Whether these suit their policies or these are deviations, they would be the best judge.
There's more news on our website, 3news.com. My name is Nanikia Mensah Bramper. That's it for the business segment. Alfred is standing by with more.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you very much for business this evening. The Electrical Dealers Association of Ghana has donated streetlight bulbs towards 3FM and Onua FM's Let There Be Light campaign. Initiative is a developmental project by both radio stations aimed at getting streetlights in Accra.
The donation comes on the back of discussions on morning shows of both 3FM and Onua FM, where some major streets have come under discussion for having been without a proper lighting system for years. The Tema Motorway, Tema Aflao, Lavender Hill, Ashiye Dodowa and GIJ Police Headquarters streets came under special mention since the non-availability of streetlights on these roads have resulted in attacks. Following discussions on the two stations, the Electrical Dealers Association has intervened to support the campaign with 40 streetlight bulbs. Speaking at the donation ceremony at the premises of MG Radio, a member of the association, Teddy Amwa, said the association is committed to contributing towards Ghana's development.
We, the Electrical Dealers Association, we are ever ready any time to support any project that we develop Ghana. We are going to do more than this. So we want all other electrical dealers to support this project. It's a good cause.
The head of news of MG Radio, Abraham Asari, expressed gratitude to the association, calling on other corporate organizations to get on board in restoring lights on the streets. He added his outfit is focused on seeing this campaign to a successful end through the help of other well-meaning Ghanaians.
We are also very much concerned about the things that happen in our communities. We are also part of the community. We are a radio station, we are a media house, but we're also part of the community. We also use our streets. So this project is to ensure that these challenges are reversed.
And Alfred, this is very positive for us to
Absolutely.
know that what we discuss goes heard. It's heard.
Exactly, something worth supporting. So certainly, if you're out there, not just the electrical cables and those who have just done this, they've done their bit in supporting with the street lights. Tema Motorway is dark, and there's a lot going on there as a result of the darkness. So please, let's support this initiative and go be. We're back shortly with some sports news from Fresh Prince and Akojo Frey. Shortly, do stay.
Of 20 prominent Ghanaians, looking 20 years before and 20 years beyond.
"20x20", showing this Saturday at 1 p.m. on TV3.
20x20, TV3 at 20. 20 years in the lives of 20 prominent Ghanaians, looking 20 years before and 20 years beyond.
"20x20", showing this Saturday at 1 p.m. on TV3.
20x20, TV3 at 20. 20 years in the lives of 20 prominent Ghanaians, looking 20 years before and 20 years beyond.
"20x20", showing this Saturday at 1 p.m. on TV3.
20x20, TV3 at 20. 20 years in the lives of 20 prominent Ghanaians, looking 20 years before and 20 years beyond.
"20x20", showing this Saturday at 1 p.m. on TV3.
20x20, TV3 at 20. 20 years in the lives of 20 prominent Ghanaians, looking 20 years before and 20 years beyond.
20 by 20, showing this Saturday at 1 p.m. on TV3.
20 by 20. TV3 at 20. 20 years in the lives of 20 prominent Ghanaians. Looking 20 years before and 20 years beyond.
20 by 20, showing this Saturday at 1 p.m. on TV3.
20 by 20. TV3 at 20. 20 years in the lives of 20 prominent Ghanaians. Looking 20 years before and 20 years beyond.
20 by 20, showing this Saturday at 1 p.m. on TV3.
20 by 20. TV3 at 20. 20 years in the lives of 20 prominent Ghanaians.
A news anchor with style
and professionalism
must be someone you can trust, someone you can relate to,
someone you can bond with, and with real experience.
That is who we are.
That is who we are.
That's who we are. That's who we are. A news anchor with style
and professionalism
must be someone you can trust, someone you can relate to,
someone you can bond with, and with real experience.
That is who we are.
That is who we are.
That's who we are. That's who we are. A news anchor with style
and professionalism
must be someone you can trust, someone you can relate to,
someone you can bond with, and with real experience.
That is who we are.
That is who we are.
That's who we are. That's who we are. A news anchor with style
and professionalism
must be someone you can trust, someone you can relate to,
someone looking 20 years before and 20 years beyond.
20 by 20, showing this Saturday at 1 p.m. on TV3.
20 by 20. TV3 at 20. 20 years in the lives of 20 prominent Ghanaians. Looking 20 years before and 20 years beyond.
20 by 20, showing this Saturday at 1 p.m. on TV3.
20 by 20. TV3 at 20. 20 years in the lives of 20 prominent Ghanaians. Looking 20 years before and 20 years beyond.
20 by 20, showing this Saturday at 1 p.m. on TV3.
20 by 20. TV3 at 20. 20 years in the lives of 20 prominent Ghanaians. Looking 20 years before and 20 years beyond.
20 by 20, showing this Saturday at 1 p.m. on TV3.
20 by 20. TV3 at 20. 20 years in the lives of 20 prominent Ghanaians. Looking 20 years before and 20 years beyond.
20 20 by 20, showing this Saturday at 1 p.m. on TV3.
20 by 20. TV3 at 20. 20 years in the lives of 20 prominent Ghanaians. Looking 20 years before and 20 years beyond.
20 by 20, showing this Saturday at 1 p.m. on TV3.
20 by 20. TV3 at 20. 20 years in the lives of 20 prominent Ghanaians. Looking 20 years before and 20 years beyond.
20 by 20, showing this Saturday at 1 p.m. on TV3.
20 by 20. TV3 at 20. 20 years in the lives of 20 prominent Ghanaians. Looking 20 years before and 20 years beyond.
20 by 20, showing this Saturday at 1 p.m. on TV3.
20 by 20. TV3 at 20. 20 years in the lives of 20 prominent Ghanaians. Looking 20 years before and 20 years beyond.
20 by 20, showing this Saturday at 1 p.m. on TV3.
20 by 20. TV3 at 20. 20 years in the lives of 20 prominent Ghanaians. Looking 20 years before and 20 years beyond.
20 by 20, showing this Saturday at 1 p.m. on TV3.
20 by 20. TV3 at 20. 20 years in the lives of 20 prominent Ghanaians. Looking 20 years before and 20 years beyond.
20 by 20, showing this Saturday at 1 p.m. on TV3.
20 by 20. TV3 at 20. 20 years in the lives of 20 prominent Ghanaians. Looking 20 years before and 20 years beyond.
20 by 20, showing this Saturday at 1 p.m. on TV3.
20 by 20. TV3 at 20. 20 years in the lives of 20 prominent Ghanaians. Looking 20 years before and 20 years beyond.
20 by 20, showing this Saturday at 1 p.m. on TV3.
20 by 20. TV3 at 20. 20 years in the lives of 20 prominent Ghanaians. Looking 20 years before and 20 years beyond.
20 by 20, showing this Saturday at 1 p.m. on TV3.
20 by 20. TV3 at 20. 20 years in the lives of 20 prominent Ghanaians. Looking 20 years before and 20 years beyond.
20 by 20, showing this Saturday at 1 p.m. on TV3.
20 by 20. TV3 at 20. 20 years in the lives of 20 prominent Ghanaians. Looking 20 years before and 20 years beyond.
by 20, showing this Saturday at 1 p.m. on TV3.
20 by 20. TV3 at 20. 20 years in the lives of
21 people were being held for questioning as part of a sweeping anti-corruption drive that began on Saturday night. He did not name any of them, but they reportedly include senior princes, ministers, and influential businessmen. He also stressed that normal commercial activity in the kingdom had not been affected by the crackdown.
And visit our website, 3news.com, for some more international news. Next is entertainment news.
Entertainment news is brought to you by
Entertainment news this evening. Deciding what to display in a living room and what to conceal could sometimes be a very difficult task. One rule, however, remains constant. The most cherished things are always displayed. Well, sitting in the living room of Professor Emeritus Kwabena Nketia is the portrait of his award-winning grandson, Manifest. Let's now join Owusu Arai in Professor Nketia's living room.
Meet Professor Emeritus Kwabena Nketia, a celebrated composer, scholar, writer, instrumentalist, Ghanaian patriot, and a living legend. The iconic composer is celebrated the world over for his special gift. A glance at the Trailblazers' living room gives an idea of the things he cherishes most: family, music, gratitude, and excellence. There you go. Family means a lot to the role model. This priceless photograph with his daughters found a space in his sitting room. One again finds many awards and citations epitomizing excellence and his hard-earned achievements. One more thing fills the iconic musicologist with pride: the exploit of his award-winning grandson, Manifest.
I'm an expensive guy, you want cheap side. Can't strong on me with a weak vibe. If I decide to let the beat ride, it's a major move to over the minor dudes. Every day some hate.
Proudly displayed in his living room is a portrait of the rapper, an image he cherishes so much.
Set my sights on greatness. Ramadan make fast, no time for lateness. Young Cassius, I am the greatest.
The companion of the Order of the Star of Ghana recipient is inevitably proud of his grandson's exploits.
They closed the gates, I found an open door. Yeah, check the score. Give me true, no be rush. Play to win, yeah, prepare for draw.
Music runs in the family.
Well, yes, he has the spirit, and he has the energy, and he has the sense of what is good and so forth. You know, so that's a way of communicating through music, and he's got it.
You were excited when you see him on telly?
Well, yes, I didn't think that he will come to the world to do that, but he's doing it. So I'm proud that he's doing it, and always, inventing ways of communicating.
Oh, lovely. It's great to know he cherishes family. Old meets new there.
Absolutely. He's a great, great artist. 100%. I love him. Yeah, so thank you for spending 60 minutes with us here on News 360. On behalf of the rest of the team, we're grateful. My name is Alfred Okansi.
And I'm Natalie Fort. You can visit our website, 3news.com, for some more news. And news at 10 days this evening will simulcast on our sister station. That's 3FM 92.7. Next is Tashan. Have a lovely evening.